one unfortunately had no name, but let's have a read, see how good it is. It scored quite well. Smiling awkwardly, she gazed at the bee as it sucked the nectar out of the open petals, then reached for her bowl of water. Exasperated, I like that, the patient woman waited calmly as more insects flew towards her enormous garden, restricting her from watering her beloved plants. It took an eternity for the insects to clear. Seizing the opportunity, she drizzled fresh water on her plants. Pretty good, eh? I like that. It's good effort. Don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but judging by
sorry, Mr. C, I forgot to write the name on it.
I'm just going to say, judging by the neatness of the writing, it's probably a girl.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Right. Well, it wasn't. Okay, this one's going to... Let's see. It took an eternity to clean up the bloody mess, and even then the authorities still could not track down the corpse of the dead... What's that?
Of the dead gals or something.
I don't know. Dead something.
Scar.
Scout? No.
I'm not sure.
Scar.
SCCCT. The what's that? Trickling, driving them to the brink of insanity, probably. All through the night, volunteers searched, yet not a single limp appeared, starting a chain of conspiracy theories ranging from a silent assassin to the Loch Ness Monster. With no available kin, that means family, the government had no choice but to call open the gaps
Scout groups.
seemed in scout groups. Could it be scout groups? What?
Second in command.
But to call open upon the scout group's second in command, a hunchback lad named Sealy, possibly Sealy. I have to get Lucy to work on her vowel work.
What a
Fantastic writing. She's actually outstanding. We're very proud of all of your work. Yours will be up here too one day when Mr. P goes, that is fantastic. Well done. All right. What have we got next? Oh, don't show them that yet, Mr. C. Okay. Breaking news. You know when those news programs come on, there's that energetic music that's a little bit frantic. Dun, 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 dun. Can anyone do that while I do the breaking news? Go, try, Brandon. Go.
Yes.
That wasn't very good. Lucky your writing is better than your music, your impromptu music ability. All right. Mr. P threw out a challenge to me about a year ago. And I've been building to this moment. We have been building to this moment. We've been doing a lot of techniques in our white books, up on the projector, over a couple of years that some of you have been here with us for. Newbies, it's going to take us a little bit longer. We will get there. Oldies, I was challenged with writing a story completely with our scribbling techniques. Completely, the whole story, just techniques. And it is now ready. Over the holidays, it will be turned into a video, and it will be turned into a booklet to give to you. But I'm going to give you a sneak peek, and we're going to be doing the first paragraph. Big schoolers, you'll be excited to know that using this structure, you will score A++++++ every time you use it, so long as your story idea is sound, as long as it's a good idea, okay? Let's have a look. We know that the first thing, and I put it first deliberately, because unfortunately, young people don't come up with good ideas. Their ideas are okay, right? And I really think I could do a whole video on just the idea, right? How to come up with a good idea for a story. We know that a story involves an interesting character, unlike Brandon's first novel that will have a piece of paper as the protagonist instead of me. How he arrived at the decision, I am not aware.
It will be about life in my stomach.
Well, okay, piece of paper living in your stomach.
Yeah, I eat it.
So our character in our short story is faced with one problem. Kids like to add extra problems in. That's not a short story. You're writing a book into a short story. And it takes place in one particular place. For example, this room could be the setting of a short story with one person, with one problem. And then we build the tension. It's not a good short story unless we build tension. How do we do that? We just make the problem worse. So the reader goes, oh, I can't believe it. Okay, that's how we complicate things. Now, what we teach here is a simple, short story structure. Oh, we're doing the video now. We can just upload this, we're done. Booyah. The 6 main sections to your short story will be, pardon me, a section on who, the character, a section on where it's taking place. Now, the reason I say section, you might say, well, why isn't it a paragraph? Well, what if you do 2 paragraphs on the where? Then it's a section, it's not actually one paragraph. It may be one paragraph, okay? But look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. That's okay if you're doing 400 words. But in high school, when you get up to 1,000 words, you need to stretch some of these out to 3 or 4 paragraphs each. But let's look at the sections. We've got the who, we've got the where. This is the what happened. How did the problem come about? I like using a flashback here, okay? Then we have the now, what's happening now. Then the oh moment, the problem gets worse. And then we solve the story with the wow section, okay? Now, this is the booklet, right? This is snapshots out of the booklet. Who? Mary. She owns a little lamb. Where? Maths classroom. What? This is the flashback. Yesterday, Lammy followed her to school and the principal locked the lamb up in the sports shed. Now, in class, Mary's thinking of how she can free her lamb. Uh-oh. A local businessman comes to school to talk about his job to the kids. He's a butcher. Yeah, that's what we need to complicate this story. What do butchers like to do? Chop up lambs. And then the ending, the wow, we're going to let you finish. I suggest 2 possible scenarios. 1, Mary frees her pet, her beloved pet. 2, the children all wear Hawaiian shirts on Thursday and roast some lamb over some charcoal whilst dancing to some Irish jigs. The ending is up to you, okay? In your black books, could you please write, oh, by the way, this is the order of our 6 sections. You will notice a pattern if you look at the end. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow is always at the end. But these sections can be mixed up. I want you to write down my favourite. It's the last one. Starting off with the now and the who. That will outline our problem. Then we go to the flashback. Then we come back to the current scene, the where, the uh-oh, and the wow. So, in your books, could you please write the 6 sections of a short story? Let's write that down. And just write my 3rd one, please. The 3rd one here. The 6 sections of a short story. Looks like some kids have started their holidays already. You guys are the diehards. The 6 sections of a short story. Who could suggest to me why I put a slash here? The now slash who? Anyone want to suggest? What's going on there? Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Probably could work like that. Yeah. Optional? Not quite. What I did, as I was writing, I found that combining the now and the who is what worked best into one paragraph. What you're going to see now is one paragraph, one paragraph, one paragraph, one paragraph, one paragraph. But high schoolers, you need to know that won't work for 800 words. Okay? I would recommend one paragraph, possibly 3 or 4 in the flashback. Then 1, possibly 2, possibly 1. Okay, so the more words you have to do, the more paragraphs. But primary school, grade 7, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 will do the job. That will get us to about 400 to 500 words. If you're in really young primary school, then these just need to be short, okay? So just write that down, this last one, this last section. And I'm going to read you the story with just scribble ink techniques. It's actually stunning. And it's no secret why. Every sentence is a professional author sentence. So when you put them in a logical order that makes a great story, it jumps off the page with quality. Literally, leaps off the page. All right, let's have a look. You've written those sections. Here comes the first one, the now and the who. Oh, by the way, every screen now is one paragraph, but I've separated the sentences and labelled them just so you can see what techniques they were, okay? But please know, this is the first paragraph. I've added a few notes on it as well that you can look at while I'm reading to see what I've done. A lot of the techniques you're going to go, oh yeah, we've done that, I remember that, or I remember when I did the one-day course, he showed us that one, and there's a couple on there that you haven't seen. They're in book 2, which we're not up to yet. Okay, so here's the story, starting with the now and the who, followed by flashback, and you'll see the 4 memories technique in there. I've shown you guys the 4 memories, haven't I?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Here we go. Sticky tape, scissors, handcuffs, glue. Every maths fact she wrote, she mentally checked off an item on her escape master plan, tucked neatly in her desk's slide-out tray. Pretending to do her work, Mary ticked a few questions, turned to the next page, and scanned the bustling classroom to ensure all exits were clear and her maths teacher was occupied. A bright girl and kind to everybody, Mary remained determined to free Lammy from the evil clutches of Principal Skinner, annoyed by the fact her fluffy baby was imprisoned yesterday in the sports shed containing old high jump mats, broken student chairs, sinister spiders spinning sinister webs, and a vintage ride-on mower that blew more smoke than cut grass. Here comes the flashback. Memories of the cruel incident played over and over in her mind. The chase, the capture, Lammy being dragged off, and the slamming of the sports shed door. She stared in shock, and all sounds, the squealing of children playing, the squawking of crows and trilling of lorikeets, ceased when Principal Skinner walked off with the key in his tweed trouser pockets. Mary, enraged by the disturbing events, clenching her hands into trembling fists, swore to set her beloved pet baby sheep free. Here's the where. The classroom bathed in an ominous atmosphere that chilled Mary's spine. Anticipation hung in the air. Whiteboards and pinboards became silent witnesses about to watch the unfolding plan. A gentle breeze whispered across the students' heads. A knife of sunlight sliced across the worn indigo carpet, became a tiny spear point, then disappeared. Across the room, her accomplices looked up and nodded in recognition of the perfectly planned strategy, with several of them licking their lips while sharpening their weapons. HB pencils. Wooden, sturdy, dependable. Towards the end of the lesson, here comes the during pack-up time, Mary walked to the back of the room in company with a few of her friends. The teacher's voice, a nasal drone crushed against the clamour of students packing up, faded in and out amidst the confusion. Repeating her plan once more, she offered the others a final opportunity to pull out, to save themselves, to save their reputations. Loyal to the end, however, they each refused. Emerging at the doorway, Principal Skinner and the butcher stood, glaring in Mary's direction, hatchet gleaming. That's a small axe for those that don't know.
Yeah.
Here comes the wow. A bitter smell wafted across the classroom of stale air, sharpened metal, fear, fresh blood. Like a cornered snake, like a trapped mongoose, and like an ensnared bear, Mary, enraged by the captivity of Lammy, prepared to pounce into action. As she snuck out the back and saw the next door class lining up, they looked like soldiers in two neat columns. The butcher, moving now with tremendous speed, pursued her. And then the actual resolution, I haven't written because you're going to write it. Okay. Technique, technique, technique. It will make for an outstanding grammatical story. If your idea is a good one, teacher will fall off their chair. So, when you get to write this, as you hand it in, you need to put sticky tape and a pillow on your teacher's head, okay, to help them, to prepare them. You've got to look after your teachers, right? Make sure. What our job now is, though, by the way, like I said, this is going to be a booklet that you're going to get. We want you to have a copy of this. We're going to do 2 jobs today and next term. Number 1, we're going to rewrite Mary, the lamb, locked up in the sports shed with Principal Skinner, etc. Using this as a model, you're going to write your own, okay? But changing the details. Instead of sticky tape, scissors, handcuffs, glue, you think of 4 things that Mary needs. Instead of putting her in maths class, put her in a different class. Instead of doing maths facts, she's doing something else. Then you'll do a quadruple verb. So using the structure, but changing the details. So your leaders are going to be looking at, does your updike make sense? Does your quadruple verb follow the structure and make sense? Does your A and he, she technique work? Look at what I did here out of interest. A bright girl and kind to everybody, Mary remained determined to free Lammy from the evil clutches of Principal Skinner. Full stop. That's the A and he, she. But with the injected verbs that we've been doing with you over the last couple of weeks, we turn it into an amazing zingy sentence, saying that she's annoyed by the fact that he got locked up. In this place, containing old, that's another one, blah, 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 blah. I could have chosen a dozen injected verb phrases, but they're the ones I picked to make this a 60-word monster that makes absolute sense. Why does it make sense? Because the first A and he, she is done perfectly. And when I say annoyed by the fact, the reader can actually follow that she's annoyed that her lamb was in prison in a sports shed. And then when I add containing old, the reader can still follow what's going on. It's easily followed. When students had to go this week at this one, it got a little bit confusing because they tried to complicate it, okay? They tried to complicate it. I won't be putting up, have we got injected phrases in this room? Did we hand them out?
You guys have received your injected phrases, didn't you?
So you've got your sheets that you can look on to use different ones, or I don't mind if you borrow these 2, but you're not going to put high jump, match, student chairs, etc. You're going to change it. I want you to notice, if I don't point 3 things out, it's going to slip your attention. The author's craft has been weaved into this paragraph as well. Let me show you 3 places where I weaved it, okay? And again, I'll be turning this into a video. That will be on YouTube. We'll have an official one on Vimeo as well. Look at this. The 4 objects, sticky tape, scissors, glue, they kind of make sense together. But the handcuffs? And a student said to me this week, what's the handcuffs for? That was the purpose. I want the reader to go, huh? That's a little ziggy moment in their mind that questions, why do they want that? That's what I want to do as an author. I want your mind to do that. So I picked 3 ordinary things and 1 extraordinary thing, okay? One student picked an extraordinary thing, a chicken. I said, what's the chicken for? He goes, to help her escape, Lemmy. I said, why a chicken? He goes, because it's her pet. And I said, so? Well, when the butcher goes to chop off the lamb's head, she's going to offer the chicken instead and get the lamb back. I said, okay, if that works for you, do it. Now, please understand, these 4 items will not appear again in the story, right? They won't appear again, so it doesn't matter. As long as 3 are consistent and one makes the reader go, huh, that's interesting. Not ridiculous, but interesting. And I will also need to point out, no more than 3 syllables. Sticky tape, 3. Scissors, 2. Handcuffs, 2. This one has to be 1. It just works. When kids put 2 here, it just breaks the flow for whatever reason. Sticky tape, scissors, handcuffs, glue. It just needs to be 1. So leader's going to make sure that's a 1er, right? That's a 1er right there. Good. Now, next thing, the point 2 of the author's craft is, in the quadruple verb, have a look. Maths work, maths work, maths work, plan. Okay? The last one I deliberately made about her plan to free the lamb because it keeps moving the story along. The story isn't about her doing maths. The story is, I've got to free my lamb. So this last one is something she's doing to free her lamb. So she's scanning the classroom, okay? So leaders will watch out for number 2. So number 1, the zingy thing here. Number 2, that there's schoolwork, 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 plan. Number 3 was, down here in the shed, I tried to make it seem uncomfortable for the lamb. So the high jump mats are old, the chairs are broken, the spiders are sinister, okay, and the vintage mower blows smoke. I didn't want to make it pleasant stuff. I deliberately tried to make the environment where the lamb is a little bit dangerous and a little bit yuck, okay, so that's deliberate without going overboard, okay. So they are the 3 author craft moments I put in here. Next, I know it's a lot to think about, right? But hey, you young ones, you've got 6 years to perfect this. High schoolers, you got 2 or 3. I am confident with the work I've seen in students this week on this paragraph, I'm confident this is going to be a surefire winner. What's going to muck us up is if 2 of you are in the same class at school and you do exactly the same structure.